All right, we're streaming live. We always do a jig.
I know. We always do a jig, something. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome to our SoundMind Panel for the month of October. We only have 2 more left.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe the year went so fast.
Yeah, 2 more left this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you put it like that, you go, okay, the year's over. It's done.
2 more, and then we're into a new year.
Done. Yeah. I still carry a book calendar like old people. Mm-hmm. And so I've got just a little few pages left, and I'm like, wow.
It's wrapping up. It goes by so fast. Mm-hmm. Brings things into perspective, right?
Yep, it sure does.
The year comes full circle.
It sure does.
Hey.
Oh, yay!
Hi. I'll hold on for 1 second. Let me fix this light.
Hello, Pastor P. She'll be right back. Welcome everybody to our SoundMind Panel. So we're just waiting for a few people to join in, and we're going to start our discussion about self-care.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Pastor P.
How are you? How's everybody?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you all.
You too. You've got the perfect background. I was watching something they say when you do Zoom calls, you're supposed to have books behind you and bookcases.
You know what? I learned that from CNN.
Oh,
I was like, I can make this happen.
Well, then I'm way off.
Look, and I got an old-fashioned wreath.
You can see the little corner I'm in. I'm like, okay, we're gonna make it work.
I got nothing. I got to start doing it from my office more often.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody to our SoundMind Panel. We pray that those that join just share, use the comments, so that we can have a very spirited discussion about self-care.
Yes.
Hi, my leader. Hi, Sister Harris. Welcome. Am I echoing, ladies? Can you hear me okay?
No, you sound clear to me.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So let's get started because we want to just start having a little discussion about self-care.
Yes.
So I feel like I love this. Hi, my leader again. Please make sure y'all, as you're coming on, that you comment, that you share. So self-care, right? So what is it? Number one.
Right.
How does it benefit our mental health? Why is it so important? So we're going to have a little discussion today about self-care. So first, there's many different, I think, when people think of self-care, their mind goes to different things. I think I may have shared before on the panel, I had someone who was talking to me about self-care, and I was like, I'm not into nails, and I'm not into doing hair, and I don't do all that stuff. So self-care doesn't work for me. And I said, that's not the only way to define what self-care is. Self-care is taking the time to do what you need to do to live well. And I think that is different for everybody. Yeah. And it includes different things, whether it's taking better care of your physical health, your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health, and understanding your tells, right? Mm-hmm. What tells me that something is off? What tells me that I'm not balancing these things correctly? And then how do I audit and make corrections and changes in a way that is beneficial for me to decrease illness, to improve self-esteem, to minimize burnout, to manage stress and anxiety, to build your spiritual walk with God. All of those things are important when we're talking about self-care. So I just want to get you ladies to just jump in. And is there a way that when you think of self-care, how do you define it? And those that are commenting or listening, how do you define self-care? So let's just go ahead and jump in and give your perspective.
I think the first thing we need to be clear on is that stress will lead to physical things. For sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. The more stress we have in our bodies, it turns into physical things. And I appreciate that you said that self-care is different for everybody. For me, sometimes it's just curling at home with a good book and a cup of tea. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes it might be going shopping.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be going out by myself, taking myself out to lunch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it might be going to get a manicure, pedicure. It just depends on what I'm doing and how much time I have. But I find that those little acts of kindness towards myself help me so much. So much. So those are some of the things I do. And I think when you're so preoccupied and busy with taking care of other people, it's even more important for you to take time for yourself. And Reverend Tiffany, I think you said on the last panel, it doesn't have to be a 5-hour situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's sitting in the parking lot and eating Chick-fil-A for 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to share your food with nobody. So it is different for each person, and it doesn't always have to be a vacation or an all-day thing or a take off of work to do. You got to get it in where you can get it in, but it's so important.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said, because I echoed on the same thing about how we carry stress in our bodies, and it can lead to physical outcomes, negative physical. And every medical journal, everything will tell you that. That we have to find a way to reset. And you know, in the old days, you had a VCR where you would press a button and reset the VCR. We have to reset ourselves, you know. And one of the things I'm finding now is that, you know, my self-care changed over the years.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I'm at the self-care that I need now at 60s does not match the self-care that I needed at 20. You know, it's and how I do it changed. And I guess the recognition within myself changed. Probably when I was younger, it took me longer to figure out, okay, I need to take care of myself, because you're busy with kids and everything, moving, everything. Right now, at my age now, I'm like, I think I need a minute.
Right. You better take it.
Yeah. So I've learned to recognize, and I'll say it this way, I've learned to recognize my triggers earlier at this stage of my life than I did previously, you know. And you have to recognize your triggers, because if you don't, other people will recognize them for you.
Right.
And so you have to figure out, okay, why am I irritable? Why am I doing this? Why am I snapping? Why is this happening? So you got to be able to pull yourself back. I said, because if you don't recognize them, someone will do it for you. Someone will do it for you.
And Dr. Tiffany, is that described as self-awareness?
Yeah. I think we all need to think introspective. Reverend Val, you had when you were speaking too, stated like an act of kindness toward yourself, right? And I think that's part of it, right? Is this, you know, ability to introspectively think about, like, am I showing myself kindness? Like when my body is telling me we're tired, we're drained, you know, are you being kind to yourself? We put everybody else, you know, we tell everybody else what they need to be doing. Like, you need to get some rest. You need to chill out. You need to relax, you know, and we are so horrible when it comes to self-care with, like, your body is, you know, your stomach is queasy, you're getting migraines every other day, and your bags under the eyes are turning dark, you know, and you know, we do all kind of things to ourselves, and without paying attention that we are not being kind to ourselves, and we need to think prospectively about, what do I need right now, and not feel guilty about that. Like, I need some rest, I need time off, I need, you know, some time of solitude, or I need to reconnect more with other people. I need to read a good book, you know. For me too, I like, in the spirit of transparency, like touch. I love like touch, you know. So like, I think that's why I'm an animal person. So like petting an animal, or kitten or something like that, or walking to the lake and touching the trees, and putting like, some people you have to know what gets you to a nice
what works for you, works for you. And you especially have to know when you, like, I know that I need some self-care when little things that don't normally bother me just see me over. Like, somebody is saying, I'll call you tomorrow. What do you mean you're gonna call me tomorrow? Wrong.
Sit down a minute.
Wrong, girlfriend. Let's do something about that. Right?
Bring it down.
Why can I react so strongly to that? And it's like, oh snap, I'm at my edge. And I used to, I am a multitasker, task oriented, let's get it done, do 25 things at one time. I gotta be honest. I used to laugh when people said they're taking a mental health day. I'm like, whatever. I get it. I get it. Sometimes you just need a day to reset,
Yeah.
Yes.
to sit down, to do nothing, to stay in your pajamas all day if you want to, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that, and without guilt, no
Yeah.
guilt. And nobody else has to understand that.
Right.
Nobody else has to understand that, because you know what works for you, and you know when you're on edge and when you are not showing up to the world in the best version that you are. You all know that.
Yeah, and I think both of you all said something that it resonated with me in terms of, why do we feel guilty when we do this? You know, we put ourselves through a guilt trip. You know, I really shouldn't sit and take, you know, for a minute for myself, and I don't know why we do that. I don't know why we feel like we can't take care of ourselves. We can't make ourselves a priority. You know, I always use that example. If you're on a plane and if the plane, God forbid, is going down, they will tell you, put the mask on yourself first.
Yep.
Yep. And then take care of your kids and everybody else.
Right.
Because if we don't do the self-care for ourselves, we're not presenting our best selves to our children, or anybody else. And people will receive what we give. And we want to give the best that we can, of course, you know, to people, but I don't know why we feel guilty about it. And I don't know, it's because we feel we have to be all things to all people at all times.
Yep. I think that's what it is.
And that's draining.
It is.
It is draining. It is draining. Yep.
Yeah. Deacon LeBou, there was a session that we had a while back where I still think about this sometimes. It was something so powerful. Just when we go through this zone of like, just do. And you made the comment, what I hear is suppress.
Yep.
Wow.
And I remember that. And I'm like, you know what, how many of us often do that? Like, we just are on this rabbit cycle of go. But what we're really doing is blocking out or using things as a distraction from doing things that benefit us. Like, it's life-giving to practice good self-care. It's a way that we reset, like you guys have said, ladies have said. It's a way that we take better care of ourselves, pay attention to our mental health when we're in trouble, when we're suffering. There are so many people that I talk to who don't recognize that they're depressed because they are so active and they just keep going and going. And when we bring it up, they're always so shocked, like,
depressed? Really?
Depressed?
Now,
Me depressed?
I always thought we knew it, but just didn't want anybody else to know it.
Right.
No,
or
some people really don't know it.
They really don't know. It's like they think that because I'm actively doing things and taking care of other people that, like, no, depressed people are sad all the time. They stay under the pillow. Like, no, you're depressed. You know, especially when they're like, oh, you know, I've been depressed my whole life. You're
like, how come nobody told me?
I've been depressed for 10 years. We're laughing, it's serious, but we're just making light of it.
But they really do. Like, some of them are like, oh my God, it makes perfect sense to me. This is depression. How did I not know that? And then they realize, what do I do? Right? Like, take care of yourself. Set boundaries. Sometimes resilience is not just overworking yourself and thinking that movement means that I'm making progress.
Right.
But it's actually sitting down and saying, am I doing right by myself and in my relationships? Am I, oh wow, you know, I'm really sad. I need to take care of that. I need to have some vulnerable conversations. I need to set better boundaries. I need to go to therapy.
Right. Now, do you think some of that is us not wanting to deal with certain issues? Like, not telling ourselves, like, stuff we really need to tell ourselves. Sometimes we get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of times we just say, oh no, that's not really happening. No, it is really happening. I think sometimes we're just afraid to feel our feelings. And then, like one of you said, you just keep suppressing it. And then that's when you go off on somebody for something stupid, because you just been suppressing and pushing it down. Well, I'm serving. I'm meeting other people. I'm doing this. I must be fine. No, boo, you're going crazy inside. You know? And you got to know, like you said, you got to know when you're in a place where you got to say, take a beat. Take a beat.
Give me a minute. I think we talked about this the last time, that sometimes we in a world that's always moving and there's noise, it's easy to fill our lives up with that same noise,
Yeah.
because we I think I said something like we fill instead of feel.
Right.
And
Right.
so you fill that space, and you just feel like
Right.
what's just stuff, and you keep pouring it in, pouring
Right.
it in, instead of sitting and feeling what you need to feel and being still in that moment. I know Bishop talked about how his mom said something, he always had to have something on.
Yeah.
I know many people like that who just have to have something going on. That if they're going, I said, "Do you ever sit still?" And I'm like, "That's a restless spirit."
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you have to be comfortable and sit in your own presence, but also once again sit in the presence of God and just be quiet. And
Yep.
allow yourself that moment. It can be difficult, I think, what you were alluding to, because sometimes it forces us to face some things that we don't want to see or we don't want to feel.
Yep.
And that's where those extra supports come in. Some people often replace sad with mad. You know, I get to mad real easy, but I can't get to sad. I
Yeah.
can't get to sad. But until we get to that sadness and what's making us sad and what's causing that, what's driving us emotionally, I always feel like, okay, I'm a little older than, but these used to be the Flintstones, and they would start their car and they would run their feet real fast
Mhm.
and and wouldn't be moving. That's what that's like. You're moving your feet real fast, but nothing's happening,
Nothing's
Mhm.
moving.
and nothing's moving until you sit down and just feel where you need to be and receive what God wants for you. So it can be, I think, a difficult process for all of us. You
Sure.
know.
I agree. It's not
Mhm.
always easy because
No.
sometimes avoidance is just easier.
Yep.
But I mean, the things we avoid, they coming back around. you know? So, and that's why I think that's the beauty to me of therapy, just
Mhm.
sitting down and talking about how you are feeling, what you're feeling, and how to navigate it with somebody
Mhm.
that is able to guide you and help you through what you're feeling. I think that's so important.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And when we talk to people, or when I think many of us have had this experience, when we have the understanding, when we reach sadness and we understand that, like, okay, I'm sitting in it. How long I got to sit in it? This is uncomfortable, right? What do I do? What do I do? Is going from one of my clients said, I felt like there was a wall, like a brick wall in front of me. Now I feel like there's a mirror, but
Wow.
still I'm just staring at the problem now without breaking through it. And
Mhm.
Wow.
and I think a lot of us have that, where we're like, now what do? I have
Mhm.
understanding, I have awareness, but what does self-care look like? And I often tell them that I think a lot of us struggle with that. We feel stuck, right, with all of this information about what to do to change, but then we don't apply it. And I think that the biggest thing for a lot of us is moving from understanding to application. And
Mm.
that takes a lot of intentionality. So when we're talking about self-care, I think a lot of us, and dig a little bit, I think we've had this conversation before, and you were talking about plan. And
Mhm.
sometimes do small things at a time, set goals that are measurable. And a lot of us want changes to just happen all at once, but it's not just,
Yes.
it's a process.
Right.
And
Right.
care and taking care of yourself sometimes is thinking about, what do I need today? Not changing everything all at once, but
Right. Right.
what am I feeling right now in this moment, and practicing some mindfulness.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
today I woke up super irritable. Pastor Nick, I can't stand when he does that to me. And then I'm like, I don't know what it is, babe. Like today I'm just like on edge. Like
Yeah.
I'm fighting
Mhm.
with somebody. Like I'm super edgy
Mhm.
and agitated. And he's like, "You been in your word? You been studying your word?" I'm like,
Whatever.
"Oh, I hate
Like,
you."
I'm gonna prove my point right now. Now, don't tell me nothing about no Bible right now. He's like, be still and know that I am God.
Yeah. It's always right in the moment where it never dawns on me that, like, I haven't been focused on, like,
Yeah.
praying as much as I could have been that day, or studying. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh God, he's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All week I've been so tied up with other
Yeah.
things that I haven't been remembering to go and make sure I'm spending more time
Mhm.
in the word. And I've been
Yep.
so distracted this week and I feel it, right? I was like, I'm so agitated. He's like, you ain't been studying heavy. You ain't been, I'm like, yeah. So there's always something that we could be doing, just one activity, two, something we could be doing every day to incorporate that might help us feel like we are like, that helped today. That helped today.
To know that.
Yeah.
All right. So you're saying instead of maybe spending an hour on social media, say for instance, do something that's going to make you feel better. Like listen to a sermon, listen to worship music, sing out loud. Sing the music out loud. Because for me, when I'm really in that space, I can hear the music, but I'm distracted still. But when I start singing it, it causes me to focus on what I'm hearing. So sometimes you got to pray out loud, sing out loud, read the word out loud. Whatever you got to do to make you feel, better, to bring you to a better place, I think is necessary.
One of the things, because I share it my all the time. One of the things I will literally say, what they say, lie prostrate before the Lord. I will stretch out. And I just recently, God said, okay, I need you to stretch. I need you to stop because I've been busy. Just stuff has been going on. You all know I've lost my sister, all that stuff. For 3 months, I've been intense. And then when I finally stopped, God said, okay, lie prostrate, just quiet your mind. And he kept saying, you're not listening because your mind is still going. You're not listening. I'm like, okay, calm your mind and just focus in the moment. And sometimes all you can do is just concentrate on breathing. And that's all you can do. Let me just breathe right now. Let me just listen to the rhythm and pattern of my breath and be thankful that I have that. Sometimes that's all you can do. And that's okay because it's all part of the process.
Right.
We don't like the process, but we have to go through the process. We have to.
And I think sometimes we think when we get to those be still moments, we always have to say something.
Yes.
Sometimes the be still is just shut up and just listen. Just sit in the presence of the Lord and just listen. And that, and sometimes it's through your tears.
Yes.
I think a lot of times we're afraid to cry. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I don't cry a lot when I'm thugging it out and trying to hold it all in, because I'm thugging it out. And I'll be crying for 3 hours because you've been thugging it out. So sometimes when those tears come, it's okay. It's natural. That's part of the healing process. That's part of what God is doing to get you and I to a better place.
I love that, Reverend Val, because what you're touching on is like the vulnerability that we need, right? And that sometimes that keeps a lot of us from being able to just think about what we need, because it requires some vulnerability. We rather do for other people and distract ourselves with other things, but to sit and be like, what do you need?
Right.
What do you need? We're like, I'm good.
And then
no, you're not.
You're not.
Wait, sometimes people will ask you that, how can I help you? And you don't even know how to answer.
Right, how to answer it.
You're so used to just doing everything.
Yeah. Like, don't worry about me. I'm good. I got it.
Nope. Sometimes you don't have it. You don't. You don't. And I tend to be the person that people come to. I'm a fixer. I think I admitted that before. Okay, I need a support group. Give me a problem. I'm trying to fix it. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. And when people are around a fixer and consistently, they don't know how to handle you when you're not fixing everything.
Right.
So what I've had to learn, and people are like, okay, this is what I do. And if Maya was on, she would attest to it. Okay, I'm about to have a moment, so prepare yourselves.
Like, warning,
I'm going to have a moment.
Yeah.
So don't let it rock your world. I'm fine, but I know you're not used to seeing me this way.
Right.
So I prepare people. Okay, I'm about to have a moment. And like, okay, we're ready.
Right.
Because people don't know how to function. Before you know it, you can't even have your moment because you're busy trying to keep their moments from coming out or
Right.
happening. So we have to take that time, even if you have to announce it. I need a minute. I'm going to have a moment.
Right.
You have to do it. You cannot keep suppressing and pushing that stuff under, because it will come out mentally, it'll come out emotionally, it'll come out physically. And
Yeah.
we have to be able to make self-care and taking care of ourselves a priority. I always say when we do these sessions, I don't want anybody to think on here that we haven't been through, because
Right.
we
We
have
all in this
all
together.
been through. We have
Mhm.
all been through it. It's not like anybody has it all together. So I never
Nope.
want to leave these sessions thinking, oh yeah, they got it together. No, no,
Mm-mm.
no. It's
Mm-mm.
it's not about that. It is just imparting things that I know I've personally gone through,
Yeah.
things that I've experienced in my lifetime, and just letting people know it's okay. It's
Mhm.
Yep.
okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It
Mhm.
Nope.
doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to be pretty.
Mhm.
Nope.
This is the way you take care of yourself and what you need to do. And once again, I love Pastor T, what you said, finding that presence of God for yourself,
Mhm.
whether it be an hour, whether it be 5 minutes, whether it be sitting and just listening to music, whatever it is, find that sweet spot where you go and say, okay, God, it's just with me right now. And I don't like my life right now.
Yep. And that's key. To me,
Yep.
that is key. Being
Yep.
honest with God. God,
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm frustrated. God, I don't like what's going on. Being honest with him. Because
Mhm.
I always say this, y'all. We're simply telling God what he already knows.
Already
Yes.
knows.
Confession.
He already knows,
Yep.
Mhm.
but he knows how when we put words to it, it's going to serve us in a better way.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So we have a few minutes. Is there any suggestions for self-care? So what can people do to start that process? So if they're thinking about, I don't really know, like I get my hair done, I might go get a pedi, every now and then I drink my coffee, I do this, that, and this and that, which is great, right? But what others, maybe some things that people don't think about? And I think we threw out a ton today, y'all. This is
Mhm,
for
mhm,
therapy.
mhm, mhm.
A ton of suggestions, but is there any other ones that we might be able to share that you can think of that would help our listeners know where to start? What could they do?
I think
Hmm.
exercising, and I'm
Mm,
not saying you got to go to the gym and lift a whole bunch of weights. Just take a 20-minute walk out in the sun.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Just go take a walk out in the sun, sit down at the bench and people watch. Just letting
Oh,
the sun
yep.
on your skin and just
Yep.
being out in nature.
Yep.
That's for me, that's something that helps me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's taking a long ride somewhere
Yep.
with my music blasting,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. And those are two of my favorites. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not so much the exercise one.
Because you release those endorphins, even with a nice walk.
A walk. Yep.
Walk. Mm-hmm.
And a walk. Now, my husband and I don't walk. This is a whole nother subject. We don't
Mhm.
walk together because he walks and he's doing I'm
Oh.
like, oh, look at the flowers.
Right. You're like, will you hurry up?
So walk for enjoyment, walk
Yeah.
for peace. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily walk for exercise, but walk and pay attention to what's around you, to the
Mm-hmm.
sound. For me, I'll be honest with you, one of my peaceful, it's in the morning when I hear the birds chirp.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's
Just hear
quiet.
everything's quiet. Just
Hmm.
hearing the birds chirp, I'm like, wow, this is okay, God, I got it today.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. So
Hmm.
find what works for you in the moment where you are.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. And then, so Pastor P, you guys are talking about like physical health and stuff too, a meditative walk. I'm always surprised at how many people don't do like yearly physicals with their doctor and haven't been in quite some time, and are really struggling, and they are letting time pass when they have some issues. And I feel like that's a part of self-care too, is
Yeah.
do some check-ins
Yeah.
with your doctor, get your blood work done if you haven't done that, and then check in with a therapist. Just run over some ideas with a therapist, even if it's just for 3 visits, and
Yep.
you just schedule 3 visits just to talk to a new therapist about, hey, listen, I need some self-care suggestions. I want to make sure I'm on track, and just do a check-in. Fine,
Mhm.
And there's
right?
nothing wrong with it. That's
Nothing
healthy.
wrong with that. Like these are some ideas I have. What are your thoughts? And if it turns into more than that, fine, but do a check-in.
Mhm.
Be
That's good.
creative.
That's
Yeah,
good.
be creative with your time, and then do one thing every day. I just
Yeah.
say practice
That's
mindfulness.
it.
you
That's
know.
it. Like you said earlier, you don't have to. We think we have to conquer all this all at once. It's one thing at a time, one step
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's our time already.
Went quick,
Wow,
right?
that was
That
fast.
went real quick.
Yes.
We gotta do this again.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for listening. We only have 2 more for the year. So
That's right.
so as we're wrapping up, I think that this is a really good discussion about self-care. So please, if you are coming on, share. If someone missed it, share it with someone that you know could really benefit from. I think we all could,
Everybody.
do a check-in about self-care. Resilience is a process, so it's not an event. So if we want to bounce back and be able to reset and keep going, we need to practice good self-care spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening.
Amen.
Final comments?
Nope. Always good hanging out with you, ladies.
All right. We'll see y'all in the next one.
See you next
Okay.
month.
Bye.